doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Hey, welcome to the People's Weekly on peoplesradiounited.com. I'm Tim Best Buzz, and today we have the whole crew here. We have Canadian Glenn and Nolan Hack all in one day. What's up, guys?
Buenos dias.
Yeah. So hopefully just before the show we got a lot of tangents out the way. My voice is all messed up. I'm all stuffy from allergies, so boo. What do we have? You want to talk about the view up here, Glenn? Go through the announcements first, and then.
Not much to say. Got one. But the biggest deal is I got next week's show is the last show in season 10. A couple weeks off. I'll be back for year 6, season 11.
Just real quick, are you going to have a season 13, or are you going to skip it for superstitious reasons?
Well, that'll be that's a whole year away, so I'll defer to the decision on that.
Okay, because I've had a lot of people ask me that. Many people, as Trump would say. No, nobody asked me. I just think of weird things like that. So yeah, just everybody knows, because I've said it every show, so whoever's listened knows that next week is April 20th, 420 Day, and we're going to have music to riot to, turn into music to talk to, and there's going to be 3 mixes. One at 420 GMT, one at 420 Pacific, and one at 420 Eastern. The GMT will be reggae, Pacific will be West Coast rap, and the East will be East Coast rap, all about the reefer. Which brings me to, what are today's sponsors? I have Mars OG as my sponsor.
Today's show is brought to you by Diamond OG and Hawaiian Haze.
Nice. Nice. So, that's it. I guess I'll probably be out there live streaming on May 1st, but that's a ways away, as I always am. Any I can't even think. Anything from you, Nolan, that needs to, any announcements?
I'll say what I say a lot.
We're a bunch of stoners. I'm like, any you're like,
Well, I will say that Kevin Cooper, I've mentioned his name a lot on the show, tweeted about him a lot, spoken about him a lot in different cities, for goodness sake. But please write to him. Things are in a nitty-gritty situation with the DNA testing and the moratorium Governor Newsom has put on executions in California, and with Kevin Cooper, a wrongfully convicted black man of 4 horrific murders, sitting on death row and is at the top of the list, or right at the top of the list of people who will be executed if the moratorium comes off and they have the lethal injection that they're trying to figure out to get the cocktail right, so they are comfortable with using it again. So please write to Kevin. He said time and time again that one of the things that keeps him going, keeps him hopeful that he will get out and will get off of death row and be back in society, is writing to him, and the support he gets from people on the outside. Address, Mr. Kevin Cooper, next line, #C-65304, space 4-EB-82, next line, San Quentin State Prison, next line, San Quentin, California, 94974. Once again, very quickly, Mr. Kevin Cooper, next line, #C-65304, space 4-EB 82. Next line, San Quentin State Prison. Next line, San Quentin, California, 94974. Go to Kevin Cooper. He's a wonderful activist from inside death row, one of the smartest people I've ever come across.
Yeah, and as always, if you tag People's Radio, we'll retweet it. Because Twitter still doesn't give me notifications. I have to actually go into everybody's account and look, and then I forget people. It's stupid. I have everybody's bell clicked and I don't see any of them. So get that fixed, Twitter, immediately. Yeah, I'm sure that carried a lot of weight. So yeah, we are ready to move on to the first topic, or is there anything else?
I think we could jump right in.
All right, white supremacist terrorist Holden Matthews was arrested for burning 3 historically black churches in Louisiana, and they're blaming everything in the world, from music to everything, but what they're not blaming is white supremacy, and they are quote-unquote hesitant on calling him a terrorist. And as last I heard was this morning, the police were unclear of any motives, and he's the son of a cop, by the way.
Unclear. Gee.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious. Unclear of any motives. You don't need any help to figure out what the motive is, for goodness sake. And the police don't know what the motive is, right? Of course, son of a cop.
Well,
so.
you saw what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to say it's that black death metal, and it's this and that, because then they can say, oh, he was just mad at the religion, not the black part of the religion. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's why he took all the time to pick out 3 black churches.
Yeah, how did he know?
Yeah, right.
No, sarcasm. I know he knew. But yeah, this is a common thing, not wanting to call the Nazi, white supremacist, white nationalist, racist, whatever you want to call them. It's all the same to me, to call them a terrorist. But some Arab cats shoot 2 cops in front of a group. Remember this? I don't know if you guys remember. It was a few years back. It was during the Tea Party, actually. They all went to draw Muhammad to piss off the Muslims. Mm-hmm. And some cats pulled up, and they botched everything. They got shot. He shot himself in the leg or something. One security got shot. They totally stopped the whole thing. They botched it. But they were called terrorists.
Yep.
2 guys with guns were called terrorists. What? Yeah, this was in Texas, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't know. I mean, this thing here, first of all, you hear 3 black churches. So the first thing I think is, what is this, the mid-60s, Birmingham? It's exactly. 2019. And then the next thing, it's the music. So it's the mid-80s and Tipper Gore and PMRC? Like, these people can't even come up with new excuses. This is ridiculous.
Hey, they're lucky he didn't play video games.
Well, I mean, the thing is, back then it was Judas Priest and Ozzy Osbourne. So, they've got money and power, so we can't blame them. Let's find some death metal band that nobody's heard of outside of a bar with 200 people in it.
Yeah, well, in all fairness, there are some really Nazi white supremacist death metal bands that talk about doing terrible things, terrible racist atrocities. Horna is one of them, and I think I'm saying their name right, and they've been getting shows shut down all over the United States. But that's no different than saying, oh, rap music causes gang violence. No, poverty causes gang violence.
Yep.
Rap music comes from the same neighborhoods that gangs come from. So somebody singing about what they see every day or what they're involved in every day is kind of natural.
Exactly.
The lieutenant governor.
What the heck is this? I don't know what this young man's. Oh, that's Oh, you're being sarcastic. I'm sorry. I saw the chat come up with Nolan, and I was like, what's this Nazi in here saying this?
Is the lighting wrong in that picture? It's my profile picture on Facebook, I guess.
Oh yeah.
The lighting's wrong. I got my hair basically a buzz cut. Okay. And I'm Candace Owens' boyfriend. Anyways.
Okay,
this is
I know.
Governor Here, governor, most powerful man in the state, John Bell Edwards. I don't know what this young man's motive was. I don't know what was in his heart, but I can say it was. I can't say it cannot be justified or rationalized. These were evil acts.
Well, that's the perfect disclaimer. He doesn't know what the motive is, but it's evil.
Yeah.
So that is the ultimate way to not say that white nationalism is evil.
No, he didn't even call him evil. He said the acts were evil, separating the two.
True enough, yeah.
Yeah, look at the wording on that. It's really I'm reading it now. It's really disgusting.
It's professional.
Yeah, whenever when has a Mexican dude ever done something like, kill or stab somebody and like, I don't know what was in his heart. No, they're like MS-13 was in his heart. He's
Get him
evil.
out of the country.
Yeah, send him away or an Arab dude. I mean, some of these things they're calling terrorism are personal arguments or people getting mad, shooting up a workplace, which is terror, but at the same time, they don't look at it like that. They look at it like workplace violence is separate than terror because it has to be political or whatever. But burning black churches is pretty political.
See, that's another good point, because you look at his first line. I don't know what this young man's motive was. If he was anything other than white, there would be another word between this and young.
This cannot be tolerated. We need to stop this epidemic of, gang violence or people at the border or, whatever other race it would have been.
Glenn, the word that would be missing would be young. Like when they shot Tamir Rice, he looked like a grown man. He looked like an adult. Yeah, it would just be young would be taken. Young is put there intentionally. Another word put there intentionally to make you think of him as a child, a kid, a young man, an upstanding son of a cop.
This cop, the father, as far as I know, because I've read a few articles about it, found out, who the young man was and his father's cop. This cop hasn't been suspended or under review, put under review or anything like that. If you're somebody's father and you're a cop, you're in a position of power, meaning you are teaching your kid, all these different thoughts and a certain ideology, and they burn down churches, let alone churches of a specific race of people. You would hope the cop would be, they tell the cop, okay, we're at least going to give you unpaid leave, or, we're going to just send you home. But no. Just stay there. And like with the whole media narrative in terms of how was he radicalized as a troubled youth, not a terrorist, if that was a thing, where video games and music and movies were that toxic to a young person's brain, well, my gosh, when I saw Django Unchained and enjoyed the hell out of myself, I would have just gone out of the movie theater and killed as many white folks as I could get my hands on. But that's not the case. It's not usually what happens. Like, sure, in small cases, you play GTA and cops have been called out, and that's. But I mean, if we're talking usually, what usually happens, that has nothing to do with this, and we already know what the motive is. It's an elephant in the room that nobody wants to pick out and call out, which is because we talked about it so many times on the show. Because if it's called out, then we actually have to have a serious discussion about how this nation was formed, how this nation has been maintained, what capitalism really is, how capitalism is being upheld and created. You can't have Washington, D.C. be a thing and then wonder why this idiot Holden Matthews is burning down black churches. You can't have slavery and Jim Crow and white terrorism like the Klan, the neo-Nazis, etc., taken out of school books and then wonder how this happens. It's going to keep happening until it's actually called out. It's actually labeled for what it is, which is it's terrorism. It's white terrorism, the deadliest form of terrorism in the world for 500 plus years running.
Yep.
Yeah, man, it's frustrating because I'm seeing these articles and hearing in the mainstream media how his dad was almost like a hero for turning him in because he had to, turn in his own son, and he helped negotiate him turning himself in and all this and that. I suspect he was about to be caught, and his pops just was like, "Let's work out a deal." You know what I mean?
Yep. Or he fucking left plain signs that it was him, and they would have come to got him in no time anyway, because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And of course, again, if you're somebody's parent, and apparently they've had some kind of close relationship because it seems like, they communicate, they're aware of each other's, daily dealings, whatnot. The parent had to be aware, the dad had to be aware of where this kid's mind was at, where this kid's brain has been at all this time.
Well, the thing I can't find anywhere, and maybe you guys have seen it, I've been trying to find out if his father is some kind of Trump supporter or something.
You don't even need that because the guy's a cop. I mean,
well, I know, but I'm trying to see how outrageous he is. You know what I mean? There's cops that don't support Trump, and there's cops that do. They're all cops. They're all crooked and they're all evil. But then you have the ones that support Trump are more likely to be the white supremacists, the blatant ones. You know what I mean? The ones that are the leaders.
Well, I think considering he's a cop in Louisiana, whoever the politician flavor of the month is doesn't matter. Shit don't change there.
Yeah, that's been corrupt forever and it'll always be corrupt.
It's very difficult to get anything changed in terms of legislation and policy in this country, but it's absolutely seemingly impossible down south. I've done work down there. I've worked with people trying to influence policy, and it's like you're just banging your head against the wall. And I think because this is one of the more overt and extreme cases of a white terrorist act, we need to look at it like, okay, they're not going to change. When you're talking about white folks in general, when you're talking about the powers that be, when you're talking about the system, you have to get rid of the system. You have to change the narrative completely. You can't keep asking for reform. You can't keep trying to tweak something that is inherently evil and was made to be broken, or it was made broken. The whole, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it was made faulty on purpose. So the system has to go, and we have to tell the truth and be honest. Look, yeah, it's white terrorism. It's the biggest problem. It created the United States. It told the American sympathizers to fight the British, to maintain slavery, to maintain Western expansion, aka a native genocide. And one thing that definitely has to happen, because white people are not going to, come to our aid. It's just in general, because it's been a long time. It hasn't happened. It's not going to happen. We have to do this ourselves. We have to lead the charge. But we have to be brutally honest and stop coddling white folks. We can't. Yeah, after something like this happens, especially if it's a loss of life, which thankfully, as far as we know, nobody's been killed with these arsons. We can't go, oh, let's hold hands, kumbaya, let's heal. Okay, let's just try to move on from this. It's not some isolated incident. This is a string in a seemingly endless chain of white terrorism, of white supremacy, of racism, of anti-blackness, anti-nativeness, you name it. And even something like the church. The fact there are black Catholics, what? Native Catholics? Just see native Catholics, like, huh? The fact that even in the blackest churches in the country, at least what known as blackest churches in the country, have paintings of fake Jesus, white Jesus, and are believing what our masters forced us to believe, and that I'll try not to make this part a tangent. If I do, I'll try to make it a short one. And in doing so, when they banged in their beliefs that they wanted us to fall in line with, they banged out our own ideologies, our own value systems, and then indoctrinated us into believing, oh yeah, capitalism and American democracy, that's the way to go, and we're going to kind of hold your shoulder a little bit. No, black folks, we got you. Just keep voting this one party, or keep voting, or try to vote, and then eventually we'll help you. Which is a shame, because we've had our own value systems, our own political ideologies, our own beliefs, and because of that indoctrination and colonization and mental slavery, that is the last thing we look towards. When one, just forming our own opinions and beliefs, and then two, trying to get out of this hell. White Jesus is not going to save us from white Jesus. White politics aren't going to save us from white politics. White supremacy is not going to save us from white supremacy. So we have to be a lot more honest. We can't be worried about hurting white people's feelings. It's one thing if you're dealing with a friend of yours who's white, and ignorant and either doesn't know any better or whatever the case is. Okay, it's an individual. But as far as the group, what's the point of coddling them? What is that achieved for us? I mean, Martin Luther King said it himself. I fear I have integrated us into a burning house, talking about white society in America. So we have to be brutally honest. I mean, you look in. I mean, I always make the parallel, but you look at Germany. They get their kids to go to concentration camps because they want them to know how disgusting that was, and how we never want that to happen again. And I mean, they banned the swastika over there, stuff like that. But here, it's just pretend everything's fine. I don't see race. And you hear people of color say that too. You'll hear, well, it's not that bad. And you hear people of color, you hear white people say it. It is that bad. You have to be delusional if you don't see race, no matter what race you are. So you have to be brutally honest as people of color to actually stop this problem.
You don't see race. Who are you just talking to? That guy? What do you look like? Guy. What race? I don't know. I did not see.
Well, that means he's white if you're talking to a white person.
That's how the news used to do it.
We got Caleb Skolder in the chat.
Celeb Skolder, yeah.
Fuck Assange. That's interesting.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that on here, though. Too many people are all... you weren't here, Nolan, for that. We said we're not going to really discuss that on today's show, other than maybe the Ecuador thing later on. Because we have different opinions.
Topic. Yeah,
What?
It's a very charged topic. Yeah,
like we have different opinions, and as you see, I'm getting trolled online by Nazis all day. So like, I didn't want to bring you into it, and I know me and Glenn different opinion about it, and not like we'd argue and hate each other or anything. It's just I think it's non-productive.
Plus, we only have 2 hours. So
yeah. But yeah, I agree with Skolder. And I know other people in here don't, so that's cool. What was I saying? We still love each other. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy that like you said, it's everything. It's a religion. It's the way people are raised. It's people. Just people have been brainwashed and beat down generationally, time and time again. Different groups of people in different ways. That's what white supremacy does. Divides and conquers.
And that hypocrisy under slavery, whatever form of slavery you want to label what we go through now, or different things that we go through now. For example, like believing in white Jesus, or Christianity in general, because the only Christianity that was in Africa before the colonists came it started in Northeast Africa. It was not hardly the majority of the continent believed in Christ or knew who quote unquote Jesus was. But the fact that we were forced to believe in this religion, and then even during slavery, we were not allowed to go into the churches with our masters, because a lot of us, all right, fine, we believe in Jesus now, for whatever reason, that's okay. Jesus, go Jesus, we love Jesus. But then I can't worship with you because you still don't view me as human. And then after slavery, okay, we're gonna build churches, have our own places of worship, put some money into it that we can actually get, which you really couldn't do during slavery. And then they're gonna burn down the churches. They're gonna bomb us. They're gonna bomb our little girls. They're going to shoot us up. Our grandmothers, our fathers, our brothers, our cousins, our sisters. We cannot win.
And a minute a black cat picks up a gun in self-defense,
the
NRA and every politician go and change gun laws to keep them out of hands of people or black people, because that's just terrifying. But some white dude walking through the park where children are with assault rifles and pistols strapped, all of them, with a camera doing a Second Amendment audit, quote unquote, that's all gravy. They never get shot.
It's scary, because even something like, my dad grew up in Compton after growing up in Memphis, the first half of his childhood.
Compton's our neighbors. Whoop, whoop.
And there's obviously some gang violence in Compton, and there's obviously guns in people's hands. But I'll tell you, I've been to Compton, I've been to Oakland, I've been to Harlem, just name Jackson, Mississippi, certain communities in there, black communities. I feel safer in those communities than if I'm walking down the street in a white neighborhood and I see a couple cop cars. Because I know those dudes have guns. They're trained to harm me or kill me. They were invented to keep us in slavery or murder us. So even that, there's always that. Even you'll hear liberals or even alleged far left people, when we'll go, people like us, Glenn, Tim, and I, cops have to go. You have to abolish the police. And then they'll go, well, but not all cops. Not all cops. Have you ever heard anybody say not all Nazis? I mean, honestly.
Lately I have.
Well, yeah, true. But, if you look at the history of the Third Reich, there were some folks who, by comparison, weren't nearly as bad as other Nazis, but also there were folks who tried to, tear down the Nazi Party, kill Hitler. There was a freaking movie called Valkyrie with Tom Cruise about Claude von Stauffenberg who tried to assassinate Hitler. So, technically... the video game. So technically, there were some good Nazis. So if there's a cop who quits and calls out his department, which rarely happens even after they quit. But okay, were they good cop? Well, no, I've never heard anybody say good Nazis, but we'll hear good cops. So it's like
just this morning,
it's one or the other.
Just this morning, some woman was on Talib Kweli account saying something like, you can't say all Nazis are bad or all white supremacists. He's like, all Nazis are bad. So I put the only good Nazi is a dead Nazi. But yeah, there's people saying that now, believe it or not. But there's always been people like, oh, most cops are good. They go that far. Most of them are good. There's a few bad apples.
And most people believe cops are good. Most people believe the U.S. military, the soldiers are good. What they're doing, at least. And a lot of my folks buy into that. It's very scary. I mean, when I was a kid, now mind you, mixed kid, white mom, black father. Black father used to be a Panther. He used to work for Motown. He was in Berkeley during the 60s. He was a black Muslim with the Nation of Islam for 5 minutes. So, there's a bunch of radical thought oozing off him. But at the same time, because he wanted to be a little more comfortable in society and didn't want that target that he drew bigger once he joined the movement, didn't want that, harming his kids or anything like that. So he didn't tell me that the cops were, out to get me. He tried to give me like subliminal messages that I couldn't understand. Like when I first started driving, he'd always say, "Be careful." And yeah, I know it's a car. I got it. I know I'm young, but I got it. But I didn't realize at the time why he kept saying that every single time I went out. Because once I started driving, pulled over, arrested,
Yep.
pulled over. So we're taught that the cops are good. We're taught that, racism is good. We're taught that white supremacy is good. We're taught that, straight hair is the best. Light skin is the best. And that goes into so many other things.
They go so far as to call it good hair.
Yeah. I mean, and since white supremacy is all encompassing, men are better than women. Straight people are normal, and gay people are weird and disgusting, and not really fully human. Cis, trans, rich, poor, So we got to call this stuff out, and I was speaking on my own people. We have to be brutally honest. There's no point to coddle the society or the people who control it, whether it's the powers that be or white citizens. I mean, I'll hear people go, "Well, if you have a revolution, people are going to die." What do you think's been happening all this time? You think we've been living very happy lives, no one messing with us? I mean, if you talk about black and native people, we've lost a combined 200 million people and counting. Every day you turn on the news, cop killed another black person. Oh, there's another native girl missing. Oh, the remains of a native woman that was missing. Oh, black man killed by police. We're dying anyways. Actions need to be taken.
Yep.
Honesty has to be the policy, and brutal honesty.
You know me. I'm a big proponent of the Panthers street patrols. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Getting out there, armed people with cameras now, and heat. Policing the police from the windows, policing the police from the streets. You ain't welcome in our neighborhoods, and if you come up in here, you better act right, or you have to deal with some heat yourself. And it has to be the whole neighborhood. It has to be everybody involved, like together, like they used to have in Oakland back in the day. In some places, it's got to be big, or else it's not going to ever stop, man. Because if people ain't trying to stop it, they'll go. No offense, it's great. I love watching the council meetings and the people are yelling, but they don't care.
Nah.
They shut it down. They don't care. They'll say, "Oh, go home then. We'll just shut it down if you're going to not stop talking. We want to run this." But we the ones paying you. It's our tax dollars you making to try to shut us up and silence us and keep us in check, and then and leading to murdering us. You know what I mean? These people ain't there because the cops ain't killers, because the cops ain't just like any other gang, except they're state funded and have the authority to do anything they want. They're there because they have to be there, because these cops are terrible monsters. You think people would rather not spend their Tuesdays sitting in a police commission meeting, yelling about somebody else they just killed, or somebody else they just beat, or something else terrible these pigs just did? Like, I'm sure people have a lot better things to do with their mornings, I can't go to them because I'll go to jail. But, yeah, I mean, power to the people that's there, but it's not, they don't care. We have to make them care.
Yeah, that's very key. The fact that the narrative, the main narrative that people believe is the cops are there to protect everybody. And there's no racial bias. And maybe a little bit, but not really. It's not that bad. Life sucks, so go away.
There's statistics to prove this. It's not like it's some magical thing. Like, there's statistics to prove their bias, especially in Los Angeles. They just came out with a whole bunch of them.
Well, it's painfully obvious. It's like this whole thing is painfully obvious. Like, one, you don't need you don't need the statistics, you don't need the studies, you don't need all this stuff, because it should be obvious to people. It's like, why in the world is there a John Wayne Airport, in the LA area, in Orange County? Why is Ford Motor Company a thing? The guy was a huge Nazi supporter, huge anti-Semite, donated to the Nazi Party. There's tens of millions of Fords on American streets. Why is this a thing? Call it out, But let's be real. But people, it's too scary, makes them too uncomfortable.
Bingo.
Just back away.
Bingo. I mean, me being a snowcracker, really having no direct experience with this history or this reality. But when I think about it, I'm familiar with the history from probably a purer viewpoint than the average American, because it hasn't gone through the American quote unquote proper channels to be educational material. But what I saw with the Panthers is they did what they said they're going to do immediately. There's no fucking around. There was no overstep. There was no not being clear. It was, this is what we're going to do. This is why. And they started to do it. So the immediate reaction was to basically make them out as terrorists. Yeah. And whether it's the same thing with MOVE in Philadelphia, they did the same thing. But then as you guys are talking, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it's like, so, Nolan mentioned how so many people of color said, okay, fine, yeah, we're Christians, we're down with this. But even there, they couldn't assume positions of leadership within the white Christianity. They couldn't be in charge of anything. So they go off and fend for themselves to be good Christians. And that's attacked. How is it any different from the way the Panthers got demonized to how black Christians get demonized? Look at Dylan Roof, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't see it as being any different. It's the same cancer in different worlds.
Yeah, it's just lucky nobody died from the last 3 attacks this cancer caused. That's right. The only difference. We got lucky. He didn't burn them down with somebody inside of him or blow them up or anything.
Yeah. Because he's probably not fucking smart enough to be that psychopathic.
Or maybe he was scared to actually make it that bad. I mean,
possible.
Who cares? I'm just glad nobody died.
Dad would be mad. Dad would be mad. That's probably
I wouldn't be surprised if Dad is proud right now. If his father's proud.
Well, I don't think he's going to be hiding. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. That whole... It really, really pisses me off when I hear people say, just comply with the police and they'll leave you alone, or not. If they don't, it's too bad, whatever. But you can't show violence to the cops. Like, because the FBI is probably listening to the show right now, I don't advocate violence. It's not what I'm about. I believe nonviolence will actually get us free.
If they're listening, I do.
You have more leeway to say that. But if people, if the Nat Turners of the world, which are very few of us, which is astounding to me, as I always say, because if anybody's going to be angry about anything, you think it'd be black and native people would be the angriest people in the history of the world. Actually, it's white men for some reason. But I digress. But the Nat Turners of the world who actually believe in violence and going after police like that, or military, whatever, you can't blame them for 5 seconds. Because again, you look at that parallel, the only genocide people recognize as genocide in Western society, the Holocaust. Every time you see movies about, the resistance, the Jewish resistance, Jewish people slaughtering Nazis, like Inglourious Basterds. They made a movie about it. They're heroes. They're viewed as heroes. But if we kill a police officer, if we go on a rampage going after police officers, oh my God, put him in the chair. Let's bring back the chair. We don't have the chair anymore, but let's bring back the chair. Forget the lethal injection. I mean,
you know what I think it is? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just finish the point. I mean, you blame people in the Middle East. Now, I'm not defending ISIS or the Taliban, but those who are fighting back against Western powers and the West, the West militaries. How can you blame them? How in the world can you blame them for attacking the U.S. military, for attacking the French military? I mean, you imagine living in Libya, and you somehow broke out of a detention center, being held as a slave, and then you see a French, one of the members of the French armed forces walking around by himself or by themselves. If you killed that person, you killed the French Marine, the French Army member. Well, geez, that's perfectly understandable. They helped enslave you and turn your country into a slave state. So that makes sense, Yeah. But again, if it's a person of color fighting back, nope, that's not allowed. That is absolutely not allowed, and you have to take it sitting down. There was some black liberal, Charles Blow, I think his name. Blowhard should be his name, Charles Blowhard. But his name is Charles Blow on Twitter. I don't know where he came from or whatever. But he was saying that, what was done to Haiti and Haitians, and black slaves is horrible. But, one form of genocide can't be accepted to fight another, fight going against Napoleon and the French. And, what are you talking about?
Fighting your oppressors is not a genocide.
Yeah, we're trying to live. We're trying to not be.
Was this that same dude that was saying Nat Turner was the first black serial killer in history or something?
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, serial killer. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we all went off on that. I don't know. You probably didn't see it. I just put Nat Turner as a hero, but real quick, two things about that. First of all, ISIS is just like the Nazis. They're a fascist thing. I think a better comparison might have been like maybe Hezbollah or PKK or something.
Hamas? Yeah,
Hamas. But here's the thing. We're animals, man. Like all people, you know what I mean? We're animals. If you go to the roots of the thing, and just like any other, like look at a dog. Some dude has a dog and he's an abusive person and he's beating the dog will snap and fight maybe at first, but eventually it's going to be like, I can't win, I'm just going to give up. And then what does the dog do? It attacks everyone else around it except the guy that's going to beat it.
Yep.
And it's the same kind of thing, man. That's why people don't fight back. I think they've been beaten down so hard they're scared of the one thing, so we're all turning on each other, you know what I mean? And that's by design too, I think.
Well, it's definitely conditioning, but if that's the way Mr. Blow feels about genocide, maybe he should have a talk with Israel.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Charles Blow on Twitter, and whatever, Uncle Tom. I mean, I really don't know what else to say,
Speaking of Uncle Toms and Aunt Tomitas, you want to move on to the next subject?
That's called a segue.
Yeah. Anything else on this before we move on? Relating to the churches and...
I just send my thoughts, prayers, and support to all the brothers and sisters in Louisiana.
Yeah, definitely. And around the world. Sellout Aunt Tomita, as we call her, Candace Owens, testifies in front of Congress about how there is no such thing as white supremacy or white nationalism. She even went so far as to say the Southern strategy didn't exist. It was a hoax or something. And by the way, this is the same Candace Owens who said Hitler was cool. If he just stayed within Germany, made Germany great, slaughtered people in Germany, didn't cross the borders, he'd have been awesome. So yeah, did you guys see when they played the clip back to her, that Ted Lieu dude?
I didn't see the clip,
her face.
but I know.
She looked like she wanted. She looked like she wanted to either run or murder him. It was like flight or fight.
Yeah,
she was squirming in there. Like they called you in here, and you're the one that said Hitler was an awesome person.
Yeah, I mean that. Well, this is disgusting, but the whole Ted Lieu thing to me, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's talking about Israel.
It's a big show. He's a fool. I was just saying that one thing was funny. Yeah, you know how I feel about Democrats. I wasn't saying, just for anyone listening, I wasn't saying this dude is awesome, but I'm saying that was an awesome video to see her squirming like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel so conflicted about something like that. It's like when, AOC calls out Nielson, or like we're talking about Nielsen later. How Arnold Schwarzenegger calls out Trump. It's like, but you're an asshole too. You're a bigot too. What do it's you're not wrong, but you're also wrong because you do similar things and you support the same white supremacy that they do, that you're the person you're calling out. So I just feel
But do either one of you have any idea? Like, honestly, like I'm gonna have a congressional hearing about white supremacy and the problem of it and what we can do to solve it and what people think about it. So we're gonna call in a black woman. Who should we call? Candace Owens. Like where did that train of thought even come from?
This is called kangaroo court.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all this is.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, it's just like out of all the, like he even said, out of all the people you could have called.
Well, I mean,
Busters. No, I'm kidding.
No, but this is a old tactic. This just has new variables. I mean, you want a real quick metaphor? Go back 10 years ago, 12 years ago, in Major League Baseball, where everybody was hitting 60 home runs or more, and everybody was juiced right the fuck out. And then Congress calls a hearing about use of performance-enhancing drugs in baseball. And they get these guys in there who since college have put on 85 pounds of muscle and have a 19-and-a-half-inch neck, and they're going to sit there and say, no, I didn't use any. No.
I'm not here to talk about the past. Mark McGuire said that about 55 times during that kangaroo court you spoke of.
Well, the thing is, if it wasn't a big show, one of the congressmen on the committee would have said, okay, let's talk about the present. You got any money left? Because you ain't getting no more. And,
I noticed this when I heard about it the other day, when the day it happened, Candace Owens, white nationalism, whatever, committee hearing, whatever the hell it was. Every time they have that type of thing, with Congress calling people in for a committee meeting or judiciary review, whatever the hell it's called, it's either kangaroo court or just hollow bullshit. Like they had Ashton Kutcher in once to talk about missing girls and women and sex trafficking and stuff like that. So wait a minute, this dude supports the Central Intelligence Agency, the same CIA that topples governments. And then you have a bunch of missing and murdered women and girls in those countries.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up here. I didn't know about this. So the dude from the '70s show, the dumb one, he does something with the CIA?
He's just a huge CIA supporter. He's a fanboy of the CIA.
Dude, where's my intelligence community?
But it's like it's always one of the two. It's a sham. It's like a waste of time. It's hollow bullshit, or it's kangaroo court, and you're just having one member of Congress screaming at another member of Congress, or one member of Congress screaming at the person who's called to speak. I think they've had Elmo there. For I don't know what reason, but I think they had Elmo from Sesame Street. So they never want to actually do anything. It's just...
What did they have Elmo for? They had Elmo or the voice of Elmo? One of the actors
Elmo.
that played Elmo was a child molester.
From what I understand, that was false. That was a false rumor. I'm not totally sure, but that I hope it is. But two, from what I've been told, that was false. But I'm not going to speak for sure.
Did they investigate him for it though?
I think so, because I think he got his job back or wasn't fired. But
okay.
They've had Elmo on one of those committee things, and all it is, it's like those police reviews, the community police, what do you call it, the community police reviews that they have, that Tim's been to, haven't. It's just a sham. They have no intention of changing anything. They're just going to have an hour or two of conversation that doesn't mean anything. And at times, like the other day with Candace Owens, we're just going to bullshit for an hour and a half. You cannot have, I don't care what color they are, it's just embarrassing that she's black and a woman. If anybody who advocates for white supremacy is a conservative, is pro-Hitler, on to talk about white nationalism. It's like when MSNBC or the Young Turks or whomever has some member of the alt-white on, or PBS, Shapiro, Steve Bannon, etc. But it's an absolute waste of time to have something like that to talk about this issue. So it's like filler. It's just, here's some news. Nothing was really done. A conversation was had. If they actually wanted to have, talked about it before, if something actually was to be done, if Congress actually wanted to do something, first of all, you change the name of your damn capital of the damn country. Okay? So not name it after George Washington, who was America's Hitler. Second, change the money. Don't put genocidal murderers and slave owners on your money. Just et cetera, et cetera. Impeach Trump and his cabinet. It's like, of course, these things are not going to be done, but I'm just saying, it was absolute kangaroo court. There was no intention to actually look at the problem for what it is, have a deep discussion, pump out some solutions, and then go to work on those solutions, try to eradicate the problem.
Well, this is what the system has become. They're not there to get answers. They're there to build their brands. That's all.
Like Ted Lieu.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a show, but I just liked watching her squirm.
That was fun. It's like Maxine Waters she's a very good speaker, and she's obviously very smart and sly. When some old snow demons come at her in Congress, and she just shuts them down. It's like, yeah, it's fun to see them squirm, but then if we're being real about it, it's like, really, you're talking about this? The same woman who endorsed Hillary twice for president, the same woman who takes money from Goldman Sachs, the same one who takes money from military contractors. Yeah, really, you? Because you're on their side, so why don't you go join them? So it's more of the overall, I guess, point. It's just hollow. When this stuff happens, when they have these hearings, it's just absolutely hollow.
But
nothing.
But Ms. Waters is certainly on brand when she does that.
Oh, of course. She's the progressive, liberal, color politician who the mainstream American go, oh, yeah, I guess he's kind of right. Yeah, okay. This is what we need to really hold on to what America really is, because this is what it's about. She's speaking American values.
You know as well as I do, know they got black cats out here that say they'll ride and die with Maxine Waters. Like, we'll do anything to protect her. Like, yeah.
I can't, honestly, you asked me how I was when the show started. I'm so annoyed because, for one, if anybody who knows me, follows me on Twitter or just whatever, knows that over the last year, I've been bedridden most days. I've had to shut down basically all my movement work, all my activist work. So I can't, go out in the street and organize like I usually do and collaborate and everything. So seeing, especially my own folks and people of color, praise folks like Maxine Waters, Julian Castro, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, these horrible human beings. And let me very quickly say, Omar is not a horrible human being because he's some anti-Semite. He's a horrible human being because he's pro-Israel. He funds ICE. He's a Democrat. She's in Congress. He's against her own people. But it's just very disheartening because it's like, what the frick are we doing? These people are against us. It doesn't matter who you put in there. Every single time without fail, they are hurting us and stabbing us in the back. And we'll quote Martin Luther King. We'll quote Kwame Ture. We'll quote Harriet Tubman, Marsha P. Johnson. And then at the same time, completely rebuke what we just quoted and what they've taught us, or what our ancestors have taught us, by following Congress people, following governors, presidents, vice presidents. There should be a black soul who supports Joe Biden. There should be he wrote the damn crime bill. In my opinion, that is the biggest form of black genocide in the United States since the drug war, the war on drugs that Nixon put out. And yet...
Oh, they'll come with something better, don't worry.
Oh, of course. But you'll have, again, people of color, black folks go, oh, I love Stacey Abrams, the woman who tried to run for governor in Georgia. Democrat. Why are we loving a Democrat? But anyways, she has been tagged to possibly be Joe Biden's running mate. No, if you have any conscience at all as a black person, and it comes out that Joe Biden wants anything to do with you, you should probably publicly go, hell no, fuck him. But you've heard nothing from the sort. From Abrams, who is also a Hillary stand, by the way. But it just goes to the overall point. It's like, I don't care if you're Candace Owens on the right or Barack Obama on the left. Why these people our best intentions are so far from their viewpoint, it's not even funny.
But at least Barack Obama would denounce white supremacy while supporting it with policy.
Well, like Maxine Waters, like AOC, like Tlaib.
I mean, Candace Owens is like, Nazis are groovy.
Yeah, she's a black Cassandra.
Wow.
Oh,
a mercenary. Hey, real quick, let me just tell you what I read about Elmo. I looked it up. So yeah, he had an accuser. She was 23 years old, claiming that the guy who the puppeteer for Elmo had sex with her when she was 15 years old. So that's statutory rape.
Right.
She brought up these charges and was going to sue, and then he paid her $125,000 to drop the charges. So she did. So that's what happened. So I don't know. I mean, they say, oh, the rich and famous always pay off because they don't want to blemish their thing. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know anything about puppeteers, but you think $125,000 is a whole hell of a lot of money for a puppeteer.
Yeah. Well, not on Sesame Street. They probably make a lot. Like they're like actors, man.
Well, but it's also public. It's also public television, so you imagine the salary's not that high, even for the one you actually view their face and bodies. But
no, it's about the licensing, the Sesame Street.
Oh yeah, the Elmo toys and dolls. Right. You're right. I'm wrong.
And it's Disney too now.
For real?
I think the Muppets are. Did Sesame Street become? I think they took them all, but I don't know. It could just be the Muppets. But I know the Muppets are Disney.
Disney took over 20th Century Fox.
That's why the Muppets are crap now.
Okay. Yes.
Tangents. Okay.
First time we talked about Elmo on the show.
You know,
like celebrity I knew that you knew beside Nipsey Hussle.
No, but there's a point I want to make here, though. I mean, I understand what Nolan's saying with these. I don't know. I mean, I hate to use the term, but it applies, these Uncle Toms. Everybody's got them. And you speak about Maxine Waters and AOC and all these people that are viewed by consensus to be progressive, whatever that means. But nothing changes. They don't go out of the way to better anything for their own constituents or for Americans. They just talk a really good game. Okay, but and you have a preponderance for why people continue to buy this shit. We'll go over to Crackerland. It's 10 times worse. It's no different. It's human nature. That's all it is. How is Ted Lieu, with the game he plays with image and deeds, any different from, say, Michelle Bachmann or Darrell Issa or Nancy Pelosi? They're all the same. It's because people are susceptible to the same warm, fuzzy bullshit. That's why. And until people get smarter,
Yes.
nothing going to change.
I like to tell people that the only time you should believe the politicians is when they're talking bad about their opponents.
Or they're giving their sentencing statement.
Yeah. Yeah, it's parlor tricks.
You know, I mean, this is the thing too. I mean, there are those. I mean, Howard Zinn was big on this, that, you know, the race war in America is just cover for the class war. It's just that most of the white trailer trash haven't figured it out yet. That's the only thing.
It's only 500 years too late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, the obvious violence is perpetrated on the visible minorities because they know that all the white crackers that are no better by any means, it doesn't bother them. They don't do anything. And then one day, when it's their turn, they'll have no experience with it. They will have ignored all the knowledge they could have gathered because it didn't apply to them, so they thought.
That's the key. Yeah, that you hit the nail on the head. This is a symptom of white society in general.
Yeah.
The apathy thing, the empathy thing. Now, if you know anything about sociology and white society, yeah, most white folks do not have empathy for people of color. And it's different. People of color actually do have empathy for anybody else, along with our own. But that whole, if it's not happening to us, forget it. I mean, look how my folks treat Native people.
Yep.
You've got black athletes making millions of dollars playing for the Washington Redslers and the Kansas City Chiefs. And even though, and the same thing with Cleveland, quote-unquote, Indians, et cetera, even though it's proven that those mascots, those names, contribute to the high Native youth suicide rate. So, but that's not happening to us. Kevin Hart, for example, got rightfully torched for his homophobic tweets. But his anti-Native behavior completely forgotten. He's on CNN recently. The homophobic tweets from years ago. Recently, he's on CNN going, yeah, I mean, Washington's team, it's not like the N-word, It's different, he sounded like a white person when he said this.
What's the difference?
It's a term of respect. It's honoring them. And then his wife hosts a party for, I think, her kids. It was a Cowboys and quote-unquote Indians party. So everybody came to the party, adults and kids, had headdresses on and cowboy, outfits, and didn't apologize for either thing. And nobody cared either. Wow. But that's the whole point, if it's not happening to us, we don't care. That's why when you're looking at people of color, we have to come together. Whether if you're Palestinian, whether you're Japanese living in this country, or if someone Palestinian living in Palestine, Libyan living in Libya, Black Mexican living in Mexico, whatever it is, we have to come together, call it out for what it is, call colonialism out for what it is, call white supremacy out for what it is, and go after it. Build a huge coalition. At times it doesn't have to be official. Just keep coming together with other people of color, legit white allies, keep educating each other on our own plights, especially the ones that intersect, like black folks in Israel who are being oppressed by the now fifth-term Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. And that way we can finally push the narrative publicly. Look, you cannot hide from this anymore.
Did you call him Benjamin Nathan Nazi?
Well, they actually they've armed neo-Nazis, Israel. Yeah. So I mean, Israel's anti-Semitic. This whole
I just the way you said it was so funny.
They sounded like I said that. But we can push the narrative publicly here and worldwide. Go, look, you either have to make a decision one way or the other. You have to go one way or the other. You have to say, white folks. You have to say, okay, this is bad, and we're going to stop. Because it's one in America and soon to be in England, I think by 2066, we're going to be the majority, okay? And then, or you're going to have to just go, oh, no, we want this to continue. We like the racism. Actually come out and say it as a group instead of just going, no, it's not that bad or it doesn't exist. I don't see color. So we have to care about one another because white people don't and they won't. I mean, I talked about the Holocaust before. Jewish people were liberated. People finally took too long, but they were liberated. No one has come for us for almost 600 years, all across the globe: Australia, New Zealand, the United States, North America, South America, Africa. I mean, damn. So we have to do this ourselves. But in order for us to do that, we have to support each other and understand what we're all going through, because it's all part of the same thing. The same hand is punching us all in the stomach.
Yeah, I said this, I think, before on the show a long time ago. But during Hurricane Katrina, I was at this college with all these mainly white class, and they were watching what was going on the news and stuff. And it was people, carrying stuff and losing their homes and trying to rescue each other, and everyone watching. And then it showed this bird stuck in this thing with this wing messed up, and it was trying to get out, and everyone was like, oh. But they didn't say nothing about the people. They were like, oh my God, that's horrifying. They were just watching. But when the bird, everyone was like, oh my God. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. They give a bird more empathy than a black person.
Thank Disney for that.
Dumbo, the remake, coming to theaters.
No, I'm serious, man. I mean, how many Jewish folk tales has Disney put on the screen acted out by animated animals? And everybody loves them.
How ironic is that? Because you had an anti-Semite who created the damn company. But it's true though. I mean, if you actually look at the stats, the United States spends less on public housing, which obviously is mostly for people of color, than Americans do on their pets each year.
Yep.
So, yeah, white people care about animals more than they do us.
Wow.
And the whole Nat Turner thing, they dismembered his body, they mutilated it after they had him hanged for what he did.
Nat Turner was a hero.
I won't disagree.
That should be a hashtag.
The American military treated Nazis, their corpses, with more respect than Nat Turner's. Like bury him, that's it. They gave him a trial. Some of them they let go. Some of them they made one of the heads of NASA's moon project.
Wow.
Braun.
Those guys were never in the fenced yard with all the other Waffen. They had a ride. Let's put it that way.
Yep. I just tweeted Nat Turner was a hero hashtag, but I think someone else did it before, so it's awesome. It's already out there.
I'm keeping going.
Yeah. I also think that I did the other one. No one's messing with that. What's his name? Jeez, why can't as soon as I want to look at a screen, I shut it down like an idiot. Holden Matthews is a terrorist. That's another good hashtag people should go with.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys want to move on, or you have anything else on this Candace Owens tangent thing we're doing here?
Well, I could say. Oh, go ahead, Glenn.
Well, I was just going to say, again, because I'm the old man here, I mean, I can, even in the Reagan years, there's no way somebody this fucking stupid would be brought in to a congressional committee. It's just like, we're not entertainment. Beat it. And now it seems to be these vacuous celebrities du jour are being used directly related to specific members of Congress for some sort of clickbait, cash-in, EQ level rating garbage.
You would think after Reagan they'd be like, we don't want another celebrity to be a president, but then they went with Trump.
It was only the start, man. It's ridiculous. It was only the start, unfortunately.
When you had Schwarzenegger as governor of California, it just keeps going and going and going. It's just a shit show that nobody wants to stop. Most people are just like, yeah, maybe some stuff's bad, but it's the greatest country in the world, and we should just be happy we live here. It's great.
Yeah, the product may suck, but I'm addicted to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, that just makes me laugh because every time a Californian mentions Schwarzenegger to me, I always think about what Cheech Marin said about him. And he said, you can say all you want about the former governor, but the truth of the matter is he's the only person in the whole fucking state that said the state name 100% correctly. California.
That was a running joke his entire governorship.
That's funny. But then there you go. When something that ridiculous for someone with the highest office in the state, and, nobody takes stock of that. Nobody says, why is this okay? And why is somebody like that in that position? There was a day when this would just forget it. This is never going to happen. Now it's
It's like with Bush or Trump. Yeah. If you're a liberal or just, how bad they are. Well, we got to get somebody else in there. This is ridiculous. We got to get them out. It's like, yeah, we do, but everybody you're coming up with is ridiculous. So I remember when Gray Davis, who was the governor at the time, was being recalled because he was horrible. They're all horrible, but he was horrible. And then Schwarzenegger is the guy who replaces him. How is this improving the situation? You're putting shit in office to replace outgoing shit from the office. It's like, what are we doing? What is the point of this? Let's just put a cardboard cutout of Elmo in there. Oh, hell, put Elmo in there. If we're just going to just put anybody in there. And Ronald Reagan also was the governor of California. So if anybody wants to call California a clown state, go right ahead.
Well, if Elmo became governor, he'd have to get a new desk that had a closed front.
That is true.
For various reasons.
But that's just it. It's the Band-Aid solution to what I think Naomi Klein has called disaster capitalism. And this roller coaster ride is no accident. And there's asswipe A or asswipe B. Take your pick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Works for some, not so much for me.
Works for most, unfortunately.
Yeah.
At least here, I can't speak for Canada.
Well,
But
that's a whole other bunch of worms there.
But listening
Yeah.
to Glenn's shows, their bureaucrats are pretty bad too.
But, somebody like Candace Owens, I just think can you imagine Candace Owens getting this kind of media exposure, let's see, 50 years ago? What
No.
the reaction would be. That's another thing, too. Where are the spokespeople for people of color to come out
don't have
against
any.
this?
We used to have them. They killed them all.
Yeah,
That's
really.
That's how they get away with this shit. There's no fight back.
No. And the other problem is the movement has become too disjointed. And that's one thing that's really annoying me lately. It's like we got liberals trying to sing Kumbaya. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, let's try to stop the police, but by reforming them. Like, what? No. Abolish. It's the only option. And then you'll have plenty of people of color. You'll have communists as well going, hey, let's take heed of what Marx and Engels taught us. Like, first of all, let's pretend they're the greatest people ever. Why do we keep having to listen to white people to try to get us out of this white hell? And if you actually study these people, like, wait a minute, these were racist people, and this ideology is doesn't really fit with us. Russell Means, actually, who was a great Native activist, said communism and indigenous people do not mix. And then Candace Owens. Yeah, let's try. It's like when Obama, the bottom fell out. We finally realized Obama was the sham. Oh, well, let's just go to the other side. Let's go with this Trump guy. He's friends of all these hip hop stars. Let's try that out. I was like, what the hell are we doing? Wait a minute. And we need to just get back to a simplistic center of going, look, the system has to go, and that's what we need to work towards. It's one thing, if we need a law to be passed or an amendment or what have you, that's one thing. But to actively support politicians or try to get elected yourself nationally, it's like, wait, no. I mean, who of our ancestors? You look at MLK, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Rosa Parks, all these great people who helped us and helped get us to this point towards our liberation. They weren't politicians. They were fighting the politician.
Yep.
Yeah. They were activists.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how it works. They got people. Well, that's what I'm saying. They got people believing these politicians will save us. Just once the bad party's in, you can get the good party back, and the good party's just as bad. They're
And
just.
if you didn't know any better, you think Barack Obama was the uncle or cousin of Candace Owens. This is Barack Obama. This is his words. These are his words. Our founding fathers, faced with perils we can scarcely imagine. Wait a minute. We were slaves, scarcely imagining their perils. Okay, anyways, but I'll continue. Perils we can scarcely imagine, drafted a charter to assure the rule of law and the rights of man, a charter expanded by the blood of generations. Those ideals still light the world, and we will not give them up for expediency's sake. The hell is he talking about?
Well,
He's black.
you could defend that in a way and say the blood of generations.
Oh, that part's right. That's part. Give him that part.
But see, this is the schizophrenia that plays into things, because it doesn't matter if it was Barack Obama or
Herman Cain, Candace Owens, Stacey Dash.
No. It doesn't matter if it was Barack Obama or it was Peggy Bundy or if it was Lisa Simpson. They are speaking as the United States when they make that statement, and there's nothing else they can say. It's just as ridiculous if Trump says it, but in a different way.
Yeah, because you expect Trump to be stupid. At least Obama seems smart.
But he's representing the United States.
Yeah, he's a front man of a fascist band, basically, right?
So that's how he should be judged. I understand the irony of it and the ridiculousness. I mean, that's like having Rabbi so-and-so a leader of the Nazi party. It's just as stupid.
Exactly.
But, I mean, the perception and the purpose are often diametrically opposed.
Yeah, definitely.
I think what's important is because a lot of us just get caught up in the left, right, liberal, conservative thing. Again, they're all bad. The creation of both ideologies, white supremacists created both. John Locke created liberalism, copied the founder of conservatism to create liberalism. You look at either ideology over time, especially recently, like, wait a minute, they're pounding people of color into the ground, marginalized people, they're killing them, they're hurting them, they're raping them, etc. So I think we should not be so surprised when somebody in this country, doesn't matter the color, says something like that. I do think we should be somewhat surprised when it's a black person or person of color, whatever. But left or right, that's the norm. I mean, I'll read one more. Again, Barack Obama. More than 5 centuries ago, one journey changed excuse me, let me start it over. More than 5 centuries ago, one journey changed the trajectory of our world. And today, we recognize the spirit that Christopher Columbus' legacy inspired. It's basically going more than almost 100 years ago, we recognized Hitler's attempt at Lebensraum, and we want to recognize the legacy that inspired. What the hell?
Well, again, like I said, that's just delivered from the winner.
Exactly.
That's his job. And something, as cynical as it is, something has to be said with the grace and professionalism that he could deliver those messages to the rest of the world. Consider what you got these days.
We've got crap, and I think we've always had crap. It's just, people like to polish the crap and paint the crap nice and call it a democracy.
New crap.
Yeah, new crap, good crap, whatever.
Crap speak.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anything else on that Candace Owens thing?
No, I was going to say, speaking of ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to open up the screen. There we go. Trump seems to be outing fascists such as Kirstjen Nielson, Claire Grady, and Ron Vitallo in hopes of appointing even more hardcore, or as he calls it, tougher fascists to fill their position. He calls them tougher. I call them tougher fascists.
That means more loyal.
More loyal, but yeah, I mean, Steve Miller's going crazy. He wants these people in cages. He wants their children ripped from them. He wants this to be Nazi Germany, except instead of Jew. Well, maybe him being Jewish, he's a sellout. But I think he wants us to have concentration camps just like Germany, but with Mexican people, black people, Muslim people, Arab people, all up in there. And I don't think he's opposed to the gas chambers either.
Oh, yeah, it's obvious that Miller is a flat-out fascist. There's no question about it. I mean, I don't know how many explosions people need to go off in their shorts before they'll start to look around, but to hear that Kirstjen Nielson didn't go as far as Trump wanted with Miller in his ear, there's no clearer message what's going on. None at all. Yeah. And again, the thing that I look to is, what the fuck is Congress doing? How can they let this go on?
Yeah.
It's, like, people can say that Trump is fucking insane and my God, but read the document, people. When the U.S. was founded, there are clear ways to prevent this. They're there. They're right fucking there.
Well, we're running out of there, because if Trump is not the quote unquote liberal or conservative Supreme Court, that sucks. You know what I mean? The thing about
Supreme Court is not involved in the impeachment of an American president.
Well, I'm not saying impeachment, but I'm saying all the stuff he's doing, he's got people, like you said before, that are loyal to him there. And what they're going to do is, when things come up, like keeping kids in cages now and stuff, they're going to eventually end up in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're all going to get pushed through, and Congress isn't going to do anything. They're going to sit there, and I believe, like we said last or 2 weeks ago, Glenn, these people all have something on each other. They're all scared of each other. They could bring each other down, so they don't want to go too far. Pelosi's proved this with 2 presidents, Bush and Trump. She got reelected both times, saying she's going to impeach. And as soon as she got elected, no impeachment.
Well, I agree with that, but I mean, it's just so blatantly a refusal to do their duty. And people can say as much as they want how un-American the White House is, but from my point of view, Congress is 10 times more un-American.
Oh, they're all horrible.
But yeah, I mean, as far as I hate saying anything that sounds positive about the Constitution or the founding.
The rules of the game.
Yeah, according to U.S. law, according to the Constitution, Trump should have been impeached 53 times by now. He should have been kicked out of office. But he, I think more so than any president since Nixon, has been so outlandish in terms of not following the rule of law. Like, Obama signed something into law when he was president saying that the U.S. military can arrest a U.S. citizen at any time for any reason without just cause, and they can't see a lawyer. It's like, okay, that's unconstitutional. You should be impeached. Fuck you. Goodbye. But no, leave him in. But it's just Trump is doing that every 15 seconds. And Congress, part of the reason they won't do anything, you have Kamala Harris. She took $6,000 from him, Trump. Joe Biden, granted not in Congress anymore, but running for president, he took some money. Harry Reid, who's finally out, he took some cash. John Kerry's finally out. He took cash from him. Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, before they got their jobs, which only one of them still has, to the whole point of musical chairs of this cabinet of his, they took cash from him. McCain, John McCain, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Chuck Schumer, who is an alleged giant enemy of Donald Trump. And of course Hillary Clinton took like over $100,000 from him. But it's hard for any traction to be made when he's got a bunch of people in Congress in his pocket.
They're all a bunch of arch criminals.
Yeah,
they're criming for real.
It's so
terrible. It's funny.
Yeah, it's agendas and party politics. You get Adam Schiff. That's everybody in Washington politics is an a-hole. There are no exceptions, and you always talk about that hollowness of these folks. Adam Schiff, it's like his whole Twitter is about how bad Trump is and Trump needs to go. We need to get Trump out. He voted against impeaching Trump. Schiff voted against impeaching Donald Trump. So everything he keeps saying is a complete opposite of what he did, voting against the impeachment of Donald Trump. And if people in Congress had any spine, they would filibuster. They'd hold a sit-in in Congress. They get their constituents, the people they represent, to have a mass protest at the White House or Capitol Hill, and just look. You have to go. Donald, you're out. I mean, they didn't axe him, but they impeached Bill Clinton for lying about cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
Trump's done that a million times, just not to Congress under oath.
May have done it with a damn child.
Oh, he may have. He may have had a trial or something where he did it.
No, I mean, he may have cheated on whoever he was with at the time with a child, raped a child, along with that's one of the string.
Oh, and Epstein and Chris Tucker and them, yeah.
That is what, yeah. That,
Bill Clinton, Chris Tucker, Epstein, all these sick people. They were going to some private island. See, nobody talks about that either.
Donald's been on that plane.
We're all these Pizzagate people with some real stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep. Michael Jackson, sadly, that's a whole other story. We won't get into that. But yeah, that's the whole thing. It's party politics. It's just absolute hollowness. It shouldn't matter what party you're with. Let's pretend there's some semblance of good to either party. But if you see something like Donald Trump, if you see something somebody like Rashida Tlaib, if you see somebody like Mike Pence, whomever, because whoever you name is doing horrible things, you should instantly want to get them out of here. They need to go. There's he's a congressman in Louisiana, I think. We talked about Louisiana at the beginning of the show. Clay Higgins. He was used to be in the military, used to be a sheriff. Shortly before he got elected into Congress, he called for the mass murder of Muslims. He's been, as a congressman, he's been, I think it's to Auschwitz. I know it's like one of the concentration camps in Europe. And
is he the one who took the pictures?
Yeah, he's completely disrespectful there. Yeah. Now, all that stuff has happened. Now, one person in Congress, there's only over 500 people in Congress, has called for Clay Higgins' impeachment. Not one. The minute, like, for example, there were a large section of, I shouldn't say large, but there was a decent amount of Democrats. I shouldn't say large, but there was a decent amount of Democrats. Like, we're sick of Hillary Clinton. We're sick. No. The minute Bernie Sanders endorsed her, they should have been like, you're gone. Get out. Get out. Okay. You lost your presidency bid, but you're out of Congress. We're done with you. We obviously can't trust you. Let alone the people. Obviously, this should be on Congress. But let alone the people who vote these people in, us, should hold these people accountable. You pick somebody at random. Pick a governor, pick a senator, pick a congressperson, president or person, vice president, a person of member of Trump's cabinet. We should be going after every single one.
Or there's an alternative, Nolan. Nobody's bringing up the alternative. If you don't think what they're doing is so bad, when you go to your job, just do what they do. Go into your job and, take money off the top of whatever they're making, put it in your pocket. You know what I mean? Pile up stuff on the back, make deals with the distributors around the side so you can get stuff. Yeah, just go crazy. Do it just like a politician. I mean, because if it's good for them, it should be good for us. Or say, no, you guys can't be criming while in office, and because we can't be criming on our job, so you're fired. There's the other option. But one of the two. I'm for either one.
Well, I think the issue is again, this de-evolution of the way DC works. Even if you go back to the 80s, it wasn't so normal, and what you do in the House the way it is now. And I think that this Congress as a whole, because, let's call a spade here. Within their own walls, there is only one team when it comes to their wages, their benefits, their perks, their travel allowances. There ain't nobody that's going against any suggestions on those issues. And this works the same way. They've all figured it out that there's mileage in bitching about impeaching Trump, but there's absolutely no tactical value to them in actually doing it. Because as he has his bozo eruptions daily, they can just carry on with business. Nobody pays a fucking iota of attention that they should be to a new, basically, this has to be called a new Congress. Big fucking turnover.
Yeah, and the whole thing was when all those Democrats got elected. It was, everything's going to be cool now. Blue wave. Ride the blue wave to freedom. Really? Woo-hoo. Rashida Tlaib, for example, to Glenn's point, first few days in office, he said, Trump, that motherfucker. And everybody got on her for telling the truth. He's a motherfucker. He's horrible. But what's the point of talking? Who cares what you're saying? If you're not doing anything about it. I mean, it's like Ilhan Omar. She goes all about the Benjamin's baby, AIPAC, Israel, Democrats, y'all are awful. But then apologize because your master Pelosi, who funded your campaign, got mad at you, told you to back down, which you did, and then you advocate for Israel and a two-state genocidal solution. So wait a minute. You can't trust in these people. It's all talk. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's like even Trump.
That's why they call them politicians.
Of course. China. Look, China's evil. China. It's like, wait a minute. Don't you get your stuff made in China? I mean, what are you talking about? Really? Mexico's going to pay for the wall. Are you on crack cocaine? And people
No. We've determined the Special Olympics are going to pay for the wall.
Oh, jeez, that's actually a little bit of a possibility.
And Glenn, during the show, he talked about that, said if they promoted it right and said there was doping within the Special Olympics or something, but they're going to pay for the wall, they could have probably pulled it off.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, all you had to do is paint the International Special Olympics that the Russians are doping and they're cheating and nobody wants to fix it. So fuck it, we're pulling out. All that money's going to go to the wall now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I should be getting a double Soros check this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trump just definitely wants to constantly be talked about on television. I wonder sometimes that they do the stupid stuff just for reality TV show ratings, like reasons. Like maybe he's not as dumb and stupid as he thinks. Maybe he knows if I just contradict myself from what I said a day ago or 10 minutes ago, I'll be all over the news, and all press is good press. There's no such thing as bad press, right?
And it worked for his campaign. I mean, The media every 5 seconds, Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that. It didn't matter what the network was. It didn't matter which way their politics were leaning. I mean, jeez. Because eventually, someone's going to say some good things about them. Like, hell, Candace Owens. Hitler's been in the news for a long time, even after he died. He's a very, very polarizing figure. But some people have said some nice things about him. So Trump, hey, there's more than a few people saying some nice things about him.
Fuck.
And he becomes president of the United States. He's going to, I've said it before, say it again. He's going to be in the White House for 8 years.
I'm just not willing to subscribe to that theory of destruction.
Well, to me, it's not so much destruction. It's just looking at what the climate is, looking at the candidates that are supposed to beat him, and how weak, as we said, Congress has been trying to fight him. And then how many, like with Hillary, if Kamala Harris or Joe Biden wins the nomination, it'd be the second straight election where Trump has paid his opponent. It's like, this isn't fair. What's this allowed? So, well, yeah, he's probably going to win somehow. Because you looked at even Hillary, like Hillary is Democratic Trump, as bad as it gets. But we were all thinking, well, come on, even she can beat him. There's no way he can win.
Hey, their hair's similar.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I suspect maybe he's doing this all on purpose. Anani info's in the chat.
Well, as far as this, why are people like Nielson and Vitallo getting moved out? Well, it is like any other dictator. At the end of the day, there's only one thing that matters, and that's unwavering, unquestioning loyalty. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And like I said on a past show, just imagine when history is written of this era, Rex Tillerson is going to be like the smartest fucking guy ever. Rex Tillerson is going to get a good reputation in history for getting the fuck off this train as early as he did. And Rex Tillerson is responsible for a lot of damage on this planet.
Yeah.
And not as Secretary of State.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how extreme the current timeline is.
See, this is my problem with so many people. Some we're not supposed to name and others that we could talk about or whatever. But I'm just saying, where do you draw the line where if, say, someone does something good, really good, and then you're like, and then they do something pretty bad, or someone the other way around, someone does something pretty bad, and these people be like, oh, we hate them, we love them, we hate them, we love them. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's like, because these people are using their feels, not their intelligence, for where they grade the good and the bad.
Yeah, I'm like, one bad thing, it's over. But other people...
no, it's like nobody can have a rational thought with politics, at least within this society, with politics, because you're speaking on how the public will see a politician, they do something great, and like, oh wow, it's great. Well, especially if it's to their party, and especially if it's a politician they like, they'll let the bad stuff go every time. I mean, I wanted to shut my Twitter account down. All the Bernie bros in my mentions defending that idiot. I mean, the guy he's a genocidal asshole, and yet he's being defended.
Wasn't he with one of those racist TV preachers yesterday or the day before?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the guy had a member of AIPAC work on his campaign in 2016. But people seem to think that a couple nice deeds are enough. Like the Elon Omar thing, for example. People, it's just like with Bernie, it's just like with Obama or JFK, RK. They just kneeled before her like she was a deity for calling out AIPAC and the Dems in Israel. But then as soon as she had a little bit of pressure on her, she folded like a cheap suit and went into Zionist mode. And yet people are still going, I stand with Elon. Like, what? You're standing with someone who preaches genocide and Zionism? Who funded ICE her first day in office? Who spoke at a white supremacist rally before the 2016 presidential election? Hillary was the person. This is who you're praising? And how many Trumpsters? They look the other way on everything. He's putting babies in cages. He's a rapist. He possibly a child rapist. He had Mein Kampf, Hitler's speeches by his bedside. What the hell? I mean, no, leave that all alone. He's anti, politics. He's a businessman. He has the country's best interest at heart. But it goes for just keep naming him, Barack, Hillary, whomever. There's always some kind of defense, and then the list of what they think are good things, or some good things that they've done. I mean, Hitler had anti-smoking policies. He cared for animals. Who cares? It's Hitler. Who cares?
He also encouraged German citizens to arm themselves.
No, I think what you're also demonstrating is that this proves how short the current average attention span of consumers is, because that's why the delivery system, be it Fox or Breitbart or that kind of shit, for that whole ecosphere, that's where you see how their efficiency works and their methods of control works, because there's so many people that hear the first hit and it's wrong, but they hear that and they say, okay, I don't have to listen anymore. That's what's so powerful. That's the real danger. It's not that the lies are getting louder. It's how effective are they? And that's the scary thing about things like Fox and Breitbart and all the organized, corporate, right-wing media. They know how to sell. And they're doing a much better job than reality world. That's the real problem, because here in Canada for over 2 months, we've had a manufactured scandal of a government that has basically been without scandal for 4 years. And this is an election year. Surprise! We have a big scandal. And it's been bullshit, and it's taken up our airwaves for 2 months. And there's really no results of it. Nobody broke any rules. But if you watch network news or looked at a Canadian newspaper, you'd never fucking know it.
And you mean, with corruption, you mean you're talking about like corruption in office,
yes,
financial misdealings? Because I mean, Canada, just like the United States, you could name a bunch of scandals that missing and murdering Indigenous women would be one of them. But I get what you're saying.
For this administration of government, they've basically been scandal-free for 4 years. And I mean, we had Harper for a decade before that. The guy had a record of 2-42 in the Supreme Court of Canada. So, yeah, this is kind of a change. So we had to come up with something.
So, yeah, we got a few minutes left. I'm reading right now, some dude walked up in front of the White House and lit his jacket on fire.
The reasoning behind that was?
Because he's an idiot.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know, it could have been mental illness or something. I don't know. But now they said there's a quote-unquote suspicious package found, which is probably just his stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
But, he's nowhere near anyone of quote-unquote importance in front of the White House. You can't even get close to that place. So there was a lot of smoke. Secret Service patted him out, put the fire out. I guess is carrying him out, arresting him, hogtied. Is what
Maybe it was like. Julian.
Maybe
he's better with technology than we thought. He got over here pretty quickly.
Because I'll show them I light myself on fire. But yeah, it's way out. Like what? I don't know. I'm betting on mental illness. Although,
if he's white,
I was just gonna say, if he's not white, he could be a terrorist, right?
Yes, absolutely.
White people can't be terrorists.
In reality, though, either way, I'm betting on mental illness because, like, who does that?
Maybe he was lighting the American flag like as a shirt and did like a little. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there. That would have been cool.
Yeah, there's better ways to do that.
No.
Yeah, if you want to burn a flag, give me a call. I'll tell you how to do it without wearing one. I only charge you $10 for the info.
Just call the Soros Foundation and ask for the General Secretary, Tim, and he'll tell you how to burn a flag correctly.
Yeah, he can pay the $10 too. Yeah, anything else, you guys, before we got to wrap it? Got
Well,
like 4 more minutes.
About the Nielsen thing, it was just... They're saying that she's not going to be able to get a job after this. Because, usually when you...
Fox News would hire her.
Well, possibly, right. But
Tough
they're just saying
shit.
that she's going to have a real challenge getting into, like, boardrooms and having executive positions that a lot of former cabinet members or former politicians have. Because, I'm actually surprised by this, but because of the baby stealing, child stealing policy that she helped Trump put through.
No.
And to the whole point, it's like we were saying earlier, it's like that's not extreme enough for Trump. The fact that he wanted to put immigrants that they've arrested and detained into these sanctuary cities in these 10 cities. And she's like, it's too extreme for me. I don't want to do it. That's extreme. That's like Tim said. That's where you draw the line. Like, where do you draw?
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead,
the reality of it is, I mean, half that statement is true, but the reason for it is false. She is going to have trouble getting board positions, etc., in the future, but the real reason is because she proved that they can't depend on her. She won't do the tough job.
Yeah.
That's right.
If some horrible oil company interviewed her, they go, wait a minute, can we trust you to kill these fish? If we tell you to drop the oil into the people, yeah, that's a good point.
No, the difference is if she would have resigned in under 2 months, it would have made a big difference. Yeah. I mean, this is like saying Hitler tells you to execute people, to liquidate death camps. And, we got to that last camp and I said, no, that's it. I'm good, man. Look at the morals I have.
Yeah. That's, honestly, it's just, go ahead.
But in the corporate world, that's not how it's judged. And I think her fear is she's not going to get those corporate positions because she didn't obey the chairman.
All right.
That's the issue. That's the world that these people are in, That's what matters to them.
Yeah.
If the chairman says kill your fucking kids, you kill your fucking kids.
Yeah, honestly.
That's what's sad.
What is, I believe, talking about dictators.
Yeah.
Stalin got a call from Germany going, look, we got your kid. We captured your kid. He's like, I don't have a kid. I don't care. Do whatever you want with him.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, if you ain't ready to go that hardcore, ride that hard in the evil category, you know what? You're gone. It's too bad. If your consciousness is a little higher than the rest of us, no, you're gone.
Yeah.
You bye-bye.
Yeah. Guess you don't belong here.
Go join hell. Go join the women's march.
Go join hell. We should
go
end right there.
Go join the what is it? The CPAC, the conservative, that stupid summit they had.
Go join Greenpeace. Yeah. Fuck off.
See, go join the UN. There you go.
There you go. Join some evil thing.
NATO, whatever you want. A little less evil.
And the thing is, Rex Tillerson was already the CEO of the largest corporation on the face of the earth. So, I mean, it looked like a smart business decision when he left. Yeah. Nielsen, forget it. You got chewed up and spit out.
Yep. That's a good line to end it on. She got chewed up and spit out. Well, yeah, thank you guys for everyone being here today. That's pretty awesome. Everyone listening, check out The View Up Here, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, at theviewuphere.ca. And April 20th, make sure you're listening to People's Radio, because we're going to have all kinds of DJ mixes about the reefer. So cool. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you or talk to you next week.